Yo, what is up, folks? MTG here with Esper Spirits for MTG Arena Pioneer, Explorer, whatever you want to call it. This is blue-white spirits splashing Kaito, Bane of Nightmares. Traditional spirits deck, which has had some more recent upgrades or tweaks, trimming a little bit around the edges to fit in 4 copies of our favorite ninja friend. 2 blue-black, comes in on 4 loyalty, but obviously has that ninjutsu ability. So if you return an untapped attacking creature, you can put it into play for 1 blue-black, and obviously then it can't be countered. During your turn, as long as Kaito has 1 or more loyal counters on him, he's a 3/4 ninja creature with hexproof. And then +1, you get an emblem with ninjas you can draw at +1. 0, surveil 2, then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn, which is pretty nice. And -2, tap target creature, put 2 stun counters on it. That last ability really helps to tempo your opponent out of the game when they're playing creature decks. And just being able to just keep all that stuff tapped again and again and again. And note it comes into play on 4 loyalty, you can do that a couple of times. Or do it once, start ticking up. The ability to give your ninjas +1/+1 is not super relevant here, though we do have some Mutavault, which is cute. And obviously the Surveil 2 is hey, Surveil 2 draw a card, never terrible. And so all these abilities are pretty good, and give another angle, I think, another surface of attack to the spirit deck. And so with the spirit deck, we're playing a slightly reduced shell. So firstly, we've got 4 copies of Shells to the Ghosts and 4 copies of No More Lies as our disruption pieces that aren't spirits. The spirits deck, all the creatures are pretty much all the creatures have some disruption on them, but Shattered by Ghost, just the power of this piece of removal, while also giving one of our creatures lifelink and War 2, very powerful. One problem that the Spirit deck has traditionally had is that you struggle sometimes versus red, where you just can't really race and they get onto the board ahead of you. And so the lifelink is really beneficial there. Obviously the actual removal piece of it, and then the War 2 just protecting your creatures, protecting your important lords and stuff. Can be really solid. Because blocking is not real, so racing is the only option. Monstrous Rage exists, unfortunately. And then No More Lies, kind of the other side, is a little slow versus some of the aggro decks, potentially, but versus more of the control decks, it's just another piece of disruption, and yeah, it's just really good. Exiling as well is just a nice little icing on the cake. And then the other non-spirit is Curious Obsession. Traditionally, obviously, it was played a ton in the mono blue versions of the Spirits deck. Still good here, just draws us further through our deck, draws us further towards our Kaitos, especially here when we can manipulate our opponent's blockers a lot. Seems really good. When you hit your opponent, draw a card, but then also gives the creature +1, but you have to attack each turn, otherwise it does fall off. And then we have the spirits themselves. So 4 Mausoleum Wanderer. It gets bigger when the spirit enters. We get sacrificed to counter instant sorceries. Unless the control pays X, where X is power. That adds up when you're putting more spirits to play. 3 Spectral Sailors, trimming a little here. Another great target for Curious Obsession. These are your 2 primary candidates for holding it. But then later in the game, with some of the controlling next in the format, the 3 blue draw card ability can kind of really take over. 4 copies of Rattle Chains gives all your other spirits a flash. Obviously, it has flash itself, but when it enters, it gives something hexproof as well, just protects your creatures. 2 Shackle Geists here really manipulate, kind of win you the races that we mentioned before. Being able to tap your spirits to tap really problematic creatures your opponent controls. Things when your opponent puts an attraction into play on turn 3 or 4, and you're okay, no, nice, okay, we can actually deal with this. We're just going to keep tapping it down so they don't get to gain the life back, and we can just tempo out the game that way. For Supreme Phantom, our favorite Spirit Lord, and then for Spell Queller, 1 white blue for a 2/3 with flash and flying. When it enters, exile target spell with mana value 4 or less. So they get to cast it when it leaves the battlefield, but often will be kind of the final straw in the coffin to put them away here. Just count on that turn 4 play that would potentially get them back into the game, and yeah, and up. The mana base is a little painful because we are playing 3 colors. We do have a couple of mana conferences down here, and then we're kind of getting the black in by playing Darkslick Shores and Watery Grave. That means we've only got room for 2 Mutavaults, but then solid blue-white lands, and then 1 Otawara as our last piece. Don't have a sideboard here, and we'll be taking this into some best of 1 ranked. If you're not already, please do check out the... If you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Would really appreciate that. Comment on the video, let me know what you want to see next. If you know anyone who'd be interested, please do share it around. All that algorithm stuff helps me out a ton. And yeah, let's get into some matches as we keep this. We've got double Curious Obsession, but this will be an interesting one with the Wanderer, especially because we've got Sheltered by Ghosts. See how this ends up sequencing out. Oh, we're going to sequence based on kind of what our opponent does. But we will start with Mausoleum Wanderer. Off of a Dark Shore. It's kind of giving away the Black Splash, but that may be more confusing than helpful. Razorbow Slicket. Green White Company, Angels. Ooh, okay. Company. We could counter this. It's kind of funny. I will not opt to do that. There aren't very many turn 2 answers a opponent can have for this. I think I will... It would be rude not to just double Curious Obsession here. I'm kind of down. I'll be honest. We have a Spectral Sailor, but I would like to draw a third land to maximize our chances of doing that. And we have the Shelter by Ghost to protect it next turn, while also kind of like being like a big tempo play. We don't draw the land, but we have another shot at it. Let's see. Probably just going to cast the Kellen. So turn 3 is where we start getting more worried about them having answers for stuff. But we can kind of keep playing our game plan, especially given that we drew the Rattle Chains. We can also swing at them and try and draw into the land again. We get another 2 shots. 1, oh, we get there. Nice. 2. Do we have the white source? I'm going to play this on blue for now. We don't have a Rattle Chain. We have everything. I think I'm going to pass. Unless you want to play Spectral Set. Yeah, okay. I think I'd rather have the Rattle Chains up. Put on swing in, gets them some card advantage, but doesn't really increase the speed at which they deploy to the board. All our creatures fly. They can't really have. They're not really interacting with what we're doing at the moment. So it seems totally reasonable. They're going to pass. I'll cast Spectral Sailor and see what they do here. Okay. I'm kind of holding this Rattle Chains because I'm a little bit wary of what they have. Okay, interesting. Kaito is cool, but given they've got mana up, I'm less keen to just run it into them. They're saying no blocks here. Okay. We'll draw some more cards. I'm gonna end turn. I'm gonna discard a Supreme Phantom, I think. They have an Interrupter here. It's not gonna catch anything. It does give them a flying blocker. It's like a little annoying, but not annoying enough to make us like actually worried at this point. There is the oh, we're gonna have to discard angle. Maybe we Rattle Chains here. I think we're not really losing much by just discarding Supreme Phantom. They know that we have to have something. And so, hey. They're on 10. They're going to have to probably block with a Save and Interrupter. We have double Supreme Phantom as well. They have Coco, but we have, like, a few different ways to interact with that. This is fine. Land they can either leave on top or go to the graveyard. If they're a collector company, they definitely will put it in the graveyard. Just give them more looks with company. We can just take 2. I'll cast the Rattle Chains. Just leave the Mausoleum Wanderer vulnerable. I'm no longer super reliant on this. I think this is just fine to just counter. We lose the Curious Obsessions, but we've drawn like a bazillion cards off them at this point. We'll give it self-hex proof, and we'll make a Supreme Phantom. They're on 8, so actually... it would be cool if there's an untapped land for Kaito. Then we can just go Supreme Phantom. We'll Shelter by Ghosts on the Supreme Phantom here to exile the Interrupter. That'll give us lethal. Nice. Curious Obsession doubled up. You know, Spectral Sailor and a Rattle Chains. I mean, we keep this, but we're not like we're a little wary of it. Leading off with the Risen Reef is also definitely something to worry about. That definitely leads us to believe that they're on some kind of blue-black control deck. Second Reef is interesting. Whether they fatal push here or they wait, they're going to Thoughtseize, take the Rattle Chains, but then that lets us at least connect with the Curious Obsessions. And it's kind of a case of like, they take the one creature we have. Oh, okay, drawing into another land is not the greatest. But we're going to double Curious Obsession here. Effectively, cash these in for 2 cards. Hopefully the 2 cards that we draw are good enough to kind of get around, because they're probably going to lose these. Unfortunately. So the Shelter by is not great in this matchup. The Spell Queller could be. Who's to say? Thoughtseize will take the Spell Queller. They care very little about the Shelter by at this point because they're just going to poke this away. Yeah. The Veil Bush. Of how things go. I'm going to tap the Watery Grave. Play the Masley Wanderer out. So in theory, this has been a window like, oh, we can try and Masley Wanderer and get the Shelter Bite on it. But I'd rather use this on something a bit more valuable. I'm just going to attack before I play Shelter Phantom. I'll pay 2 life just in case they have like a counter spell that doesn't work if we pay 2. There's a few different things they could have. In fact, it depends if they have sweepers or not. So like at this point, this is a 3/3. It means it can counter pretty much anything they play. That's maybe a good reason to put this on the Supreme Phantom. But we don't really know enough. I'm worried I don't want to just lose it. Oh, okay, and they are on Rogue, so actually this seems much better. Holding on to this is much better than I thought it would be. I thought, given the the double Restless Reef, they were probably playing Blue-Black Control. But it looks like they are on... Well, no, they played a Thieves Guild Enforcer. And a Kaito. Okay. Now we're cooking. What are we cooking? What's the game plan here? Yeah, it's hexproof on their turn, but won't be later on. They're going to stun up the Wanderer, which is fine by me. The reason why I feel this is a really weird play is because we can Shelter by the Phantom, exile the Thieves Guild Enforcer, and then attack Kaito. The reason we're doing it this way around is so that we don't give them the Kaito back if this dies. Giving them the Thieves Guild, giving them the Enforcer back is not good, but is not as bad. They've seen this. I'm actually shocking to play. My last card is a Spell Queller. You can't convince me otherwise. But we're a little insulated by Wrath just because we have the Masley Wanderer, and they're on blue-black instead of on blue-white. Outside of the fact that they're playing, like, rogues. But you can still find some kind of... what's the... Gosh. My Extinction event, you can still kind of be selective with the converted mana cost, and like playing that kind of Wrath in the rogue deck is still pretty decent. I'm going to hang on to this. No real reason to play it out. They've Thoughtseize us twice. I probably would cast another one, but hey. If they want to like pay the tax to try and do this. Now they're on 10. This is going to untap as well. Okay. Enforcer on Millus. We are at least flying. The Risen Reef is on the ground, right? It's risen, but it's not risen in the air. It's not risen that much. 20 to 17. Oh, we got another Kaito? Yeah, fair. That's not bad at all. Alright, so then what's Kaito up to? Wouldn't mind drawing a Kaito of our own. Actually, they know about our Kaitos. They thought he's one of them. Wait, did they? Oh, they might have milled over it. So maybe it's possible they didn't see it. But it's likely they did. Given they played the Kaito out, they have this, but I think I do want to flash and rattle chains this time. We still have some insulation with the Masley Wanderer. And need to basically make a choice here of whether we want to kill Kaito or hit them. And sending 3 attackers at Kaito. It pains me a little, but the Masley Wanderer is a bit more valuable than the Drown of the Lockers. Sorry, than the Rattle Chains is on the face of it. Given the amount of time it's going to take us to win the game, we should hit Kaito here. Just put it back down. I'll play the shittles out. Okay. Kaito's our only real form of card advantage as well, I should say. Oh, well, other than Curious Obsession, We've used 2 of those up already earlier on. We've done a decent job fighting our way back in, but it's we will see how it plays. Go for the throat. They're gonna pay. We can make them pay the rest of the mana, but there's not a lot of point. They still get to remove it. And then they have double enforcer. They have the clock advantage for sure. We milled a lot of cards. We would like to draw not a land one time, please. I'll suffer through a couple of turns of attacking us with these. Didn't know the cards on our hand. Like putting the 6th land. That's a faster clock than I appreciated. So our library's also going pretty quickly. Down to 9. Okay, we do shelter buy. Which exile one of these. We go to 11 down to 4. Okay. Taking some risks with it. They can't double activate yet. It's not that far away. We are also just losing our library. So we still have multiple. Please. This turn. Do you have to block? All right, drawing like the checks notes. I mean, this is we're being milled for it. There are like only Kaitos left in the deck though, kind of. By only, I mean there's 3 copies in the like 17 cards, 16 cards. We did find one. Checks. This does not do anything. We stun this and dice the manland. Alright, tough. We'll put that one down to getting a little flooded. Alright, 1-1. Rough loss there to the rogue deck. After like a pretty miserable start from us as well, we like fought back into it. But then got a little flooded. This looks very solid. We don't have a black source for Kaito. So hoping we could draw into one. Ooh, it's darker red. A darker red. Like back here. Ooh, hit blacks. I'm gonna play this now. Amazing Wonder. It makes us like a little less surprise. It's not like all the spirit decks are playing Kaito. They're very much still predominantly blue-white. But hey. Oh, I was about to say, okay, that's okay. Oh, I thought they were tapping out for Burning Tree, and I was like, oh, here it comes. But not quite yet. Removal spell? I'd rather it not get exiled, but like, yeah, it's not making a big difference. We're gonna take 4 here. Let me have a choice. Spell Queller's not bad. I'm gonna play Supreme Phantom. It's hard for them to have like a straight up removal spell for this. I'm a little surprised actually by the Splatfire Hazard. They're doing more prowessy stuff with red green. They are like anger. Maybe they're on some kind of Dreadhorde Arcanist build. That's what this would lead me to believe. That is an 8-4. It is an 8-4 and we don't have a way to gain life. I'm gonna let this hit us. Cross fingers. Wait, checks cut. Should have checked them. Okay, we're not getting Become Immense. I didn't think about that for a minute. Would have been. We did it at 1. But yeah. Maybe shock. Oh gosh. It's a bit of a feels bad. Oh wait, do they have the? Yeah. Let me actually swap these to the scene I'm going to be using. There we go. You can see my graveyard, which matters not the most when I'm playing Attacker, but hey. One lander, we will mulligan this. 2 lands we will keep. Given our circumstances, I'm going to put them no more lives back. Yeah, I think this is right. Let's see. It's going to be one of the white spells. We can't really cast them. I think the Shelter by Ghost is a little less taxing, but they're both decent. The Shelter by Ghost basically is like, hey, if we draw a white source later on in the game, if we draw the white source and we play against aggro, this is a Kahira. Okay, immediate regret. We do draw into the white source though, so that's cool. Could have been a good Curious Obsession angle. This does give us a way to get around temporary lockdown, I guess. Kind of cute. Do I want to run out Supreme? I mean, we can shelter. that does not work the way you want it to. The shelter by the Mutavault. We don't really have enough going on to not do this. My concern is not them countering it, but them just untapping and temporary lockdowning us. But on the mulligan, it's pretty hard to play around that. We at least have a Mutavault and they're at 13. That's our like saving grace here. And then it might be that we can end step. Sorry, I just knocked my mic. It might be we can end step Ottawara it or something and get like a ton of attacks in with a surprise later. So third land. Okay, no lockdown. For the reasons said before, I'm not going to do that. I will animate Mutavault though here. It's a little dangerous, but they have 3 lands to work with. They kind of have to respect our board a bit. If they kill Mutavault this turn, they would and then take some damage. Okay, this looks pretty good. They're going to 2. Crack the clue. So if they have like March here to take the Mutavault and then they prevert it, then it's looking a bit worse. But it looks like we're gonna be in the clear on this one. Being bold on the mulligan has worked out. Yeah, the danger of like sandbagging stuff is just giving them too much time. Opponents on the play. This is like slowish. Double Kaito's awkward. If we knew we had the lands to cast it, I'd be like, yeah, cool. But yeah. The point of the deck is to show the Kaitos and Spirits though, so I feel like I should have it in here. We've seen Kaitos on the battlefield, just like in the graveyard milled. Actually, no, there were Kaitos on the battlefield. They were just on our opponent's side of the battlefield. And in theory, I could have cast that one in the last turn, but we're dead. So hey, the joke was on who now? Opponent's taking a while on this mulligan decision. I'm not sure what the situation is here. Blah 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 goes the motor. Ring 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 goes the bell. Alright. We'll keep. It looks like our opponent might have timed out on the mulligan though. So this might be over quickly. Our opponent might have a completely unplayable hand or some number of things. Excuse me. Humans. Okay. Speaking of which, the Origins Planeswalkers. Actually, the Origins Planeswalkers are on Arena, and I've not made a video with them yet, which is wild, to be honest. I'm gonna no blocks here. I'm torn on Exile and Kithian, so we can. the actual. So next turn we can Kaito. Giving the Kithian back is funny though. I think this is okay. They can use the Meteor and then they get the Planeswalker activation. I don't know how worried we should be about that, to be honest. What sequencing? Honestly. Should play the Spirit before we attack against the Power Buff. Alright. Anyway. I'm not tilted, I promise. Yeah. A bit of a whips. Alright, so Lieutenant. We're like a similar situation here, but now we have the opportunity to like tap something down with Kaito. We are at 10, which is an indictment for sure. So one of the reasons that we did this in this order is that we now get to take something and then we get to basically look to bounce. We're returning the Maslin one just to play it again. It's still going to take us a turn to do that. And even next turn, we'd still be in a similar situation. At least next turn, if we do that, we can then replay the Maslin one straight away. But we're in a bit of a predicament here. I'm going to do this. With the plan to... I think at this point I'm like, let's just exile the Kithian. This will grow bigger. There's one white, so only really grow one bigger. I feel like erasing life is maybe better than just removing one of the attackers, but it's pretty close. Yeah, actually pretty close. Okay, they had an extra white source. Ossification's good because they can pay the tax. That's tough. They could also choose Ossification just the Shelter Buy and leave us with the Spirit. Okay, they're not going to do that, so they're going to pay all the mana for this. But they do get the Kithian back. Kithian then in turn buffs both creatures. We take 6. We still don't want to block this. We get a 7. Yeah, we might just be dead to the Mutavolts, to be honest. Sharklands, we can attack. Put it into play. Put a thing on this, and then play the... I mean... Yeah. We don't, unfortunately, have much else going on. So you want to tap this and stun it twice. You stun counters, and then go Island Mouse, and we want it to block. Okay, so right now, actually, we're taking 6. Oh, they have ossification number 2. Okay, for Kaito. Interesting. Then Survivor. This is a really weird one. It's like, do you want to attack here? I block this, but not do much with the Kaito, though. You take 5. Let's just get 1 mana cheaper. This will cast this for 4. You take 3 down to 4. Kaito stuns this, which does the Mutavaults. I was fairly sure it does this anyway. We need to draw something good. What can we draw? If we take 5, go 2. Yeah, no. I feel like we have to block here. This is still stunned for a turn. Okay, that's not going to do it.
Bet you didn't expect to see me here.
You can stun this, but like...
You're not going anywhere.
We're dead on board to Mutavaults, unfortunately. Which puts us at, what, 2-2? Yeah. Oh, wait. Attack Kithian. Kithian? Kaito? No. Okay. We'll maybe play an extra, another one. A little light on colored sources, but we'll keep this. We have the 1-drop plus Curious Obsession to kind of lean on early. Punt is on the playing Boros. I mean, it doesn't really change the way we play. We have the Water Grave available. There'll be some timing windows that matter. The Lava Runner start at least isn't going to hurt us very, very quickly. Mana Conflict is interesting. This maybe implies like Mardi. Ooh. Let's get in ahead of that. The Eidolon's tough. I'm gonna try and play a slow game here. Okay. I'm gonna cast a Shackle Geist. And say go. With the plan to tap down the Eidolon. And take one here. We'll see how this works out. We are playing 4 copies of Shelter by Ghosts. Be nice. Okay, it looks like they're actually gonna. Oh no, they're looking at our creatures, but not in a serious manner. I'll chill on the Watery Grave. Boros Charm, pretty good. Yeah, we'll take 2 to exile that. Please, thank you. It may be correct to like normalize this, but I think we should Spell Queller and just keep more things on the board. So yeah, we take damage. Spell Queller will try and Spell Queller the Screaming Nemesis. They do take the 2. And so one reason why you're like, I'm thinking more about this with the I'm like, they're at 11. Like, kind of don't mind Eidolon being in play. One reason, like, looking at, like, hey, getting the Shackle Geist online, having this stuff around, and now we have, like, an Immortalize available. This time we'll play the Water Grave tapped. Is that we can look to trap our opponent underneath their Eidolon. We shouldn't be too hasty with that. It's like 9. So you're still flashing rattle chains here. Bit tricky. If they're like a good answer for the Spell Queller, I mean, we're gonna take a couple points of damage here. If they have like a second answer, that'd be pretty devastating. Oh, looks like they might do. They're not gonna second collateral, surely. Ooh, okay. Yeah, but now we have nothing to block. Oh, right, yeah, no. So this comes down. They're at 6. We take 2. I can target the Screaming Nemesis. We'll target the Shackle Geist. Sure. Yeah, there's the sorceries. This is fine. But then we can then tap this thing. You're on 5. Yeah, I guess they're still on board anyway. And that's the joy of Idol on the Great Rebel. Not my favourite way to trap someone on their own Eidolon. You can count on Dryad Arbor out of Infect for that. Because they kind of people don't respect taking the damage to their Eidolons. One more match for the road here. We like early black sources, but like with the Kaito, we kind of feel fine about this. Most of our lands are blue-white, so you should hopefully pick up a white land for the Spell Queller. We have a pretty strong start leading into Kaito as well. And we're on the play. Brushland. What? I have not seen this version of the Battle Royals on Arena before, but obviously exists. Uh, company or angels? And do we want to tap their creatures? This is a tricky one. I'm gonna make Supreme Phantom here. Just like the large bonus of staying in play. And keeps the Wanderer powered up to kind of counter stuff, like kind of like the company. In fact, is this version. I am going to Curious Obsession on Supreme Phantom, just because it's likely this Mausoleum Wanderer gets sacrificed to counter collect the company at some point. I'm hoping to draw a land here, basically. We don't get the payoff, but yeah. I was like, hopefully we get a land and we can play the Shacklegeist anyway. But if not, that is okay. So I'm gonna start like entering in Distance is such a good card. This is what's like made the Green White Company deck like actually playable. And just like an incredible draw engine. But it tries to play on both players' turns, which is pretty interesting. I'm gonna tackle both of these and see what happens. We have the options of Kaito here, but obviously Kaito is vulnerable like on the ground. We're currently there's one. Sorry, pre-blocks, so I can't currently Kaito. Sad. We have the option to do this here. I would like to try and get a land. They have the option to kill this. I'll draw the Mana Confluence. Okay. So you can like run all these into this, but then I'm not using the elves to like deploy mana this time. Burning like the apparition for it is not as big of a problem. And it does mean that also if we like somehow end up trading with the apparition later, get some bonus. So then I'm gonna say Wander, and then I'll say go with Spellcard Mana up. These are some different blocks available. Huh? No way. Oh, this is sweet. Oh, I think we leave this alone. But if they're playing Angels splashing Endurance, that is pretty cool. I will absolutely Spellquell this though. Would like no part of this rodeo. Alright, and then we have lands and stuff. These attacks. I'm gonna Jitsu in Kaito again. Again, this is also increasing our damage output, which is cool. Need a 4 here. I'm going to actually stun the Innocents to prevent them gaining life. Then my plan here is to shock to hold up no more lies. They can kill this. It's like, okay, how many angels do they have for Bishop? Actually, holding up normalize is a bit of a pipe dream. Because they have too much stuff to interact with it. This is a bad shock. Alright, okay. This is actually... this is bad for the same reasons. Sort of. It's a little better than putting the Shacklegeist into play in theory. We hide this, because this can stop potential blockers next turn. And also, obviously, can be powered up by just playing this. Do you have a Mutavault? Is like a... Do you want to try and interact with this? We've obviously shocked this. But it looks like we maybe even have another 1-drop to power up to 2 to trade with the Skyco apparition. Yeah, there's not much point in making them pay 1 more. Even they'd be able to cast this for 2, which is about as good. You look at the same number of cards, that's not great. Okay. They hit 2 angels, they gain a bunch of life back. Now this looks a little silly, but we couldn't. You have the same number of cards, it's just the number of things you can put into play. They only actually put 2 things into play, so like, having the Immortalized, they'd have just having 2 mana. Maybe they do just cast it for all their mana still. I don't know. Yeah, keeping this alive is a bit of a pipe dream. So Kaito will go. They are on 14. The Valkyrie, the Bishop. They're just getting Angeled again. Can't do anything to really threaten here. There's no way we can get 2 extra power on this, right? If we play Spell Queller, we can tap one of these. But that doesn't even really force any blocks anymore. They just say go and untap. I'd rather use the Spell Queller to exile like something they play. Oh, this has come apart quite nicely. Yeah, actually, this I've seen so the like typical green deck, the typical deck you see in Enduring Innocence. Oh, it was. I say it was a bait. It was a really good bait because they got to cast Righteous Archangel. It's all done. This game is. I'm gonna let this go to their end step, but this is. Oh, let me just gain 14. Oh yeah. Oh, would you believe it? The game's over. All right. Oh, I'm gonna scoop it up. Done in by angels again. All right. The Esper Spirit deck. Oh, the scenes again. Jeez. Is very very sweet. We saw like Kaito come do some stuff. We saw like a couple of different like mana. It wasn't even really like problems with the colors as much as problems with getting flooded. We're playing 23 lands here, which is quite a lot. You have a little bit of filtering with Kaito, and you can obviously draw off a spectral Curious Obsession, but you still like really run the like this half of the deck from like here left wants you to draw roughly 3 lands max per game, and this is like, oh hey, maybe you want to play a bit more. Like you could happily play like 20 lands here, I feel like, and be like reasonably happy playing blue-white, especially when you're playing the Curious Obsession stuff. It is tricky. And obviously playing more lands lets you play 3 colors a little easier. The like other parts of the deck, like the Shelter by Ghost and the Normalize, I think we're fine. It is like harder to hold up Normalize than a Geist Slight Snare, which is the other 3 mana counter spell you play. It's 3 mana, but it's cheaper for having a Spirit, so it goes down to 2, and then also cheaper for having an enchantment. So with Curious Obsession and Shelter by Ghost, it goes down to 1. I think that like version of the Spirit stack might be a little bit better here than playing Esper and playing Kaito. So like Kaito is really good in some matchups. We played some matchups here where like our opponents were like either on the play a lot, where they just have a bunch of creatures in play already, and we're just kind of like struggling to get it to play. If it is getting to play, it's like struggling to like survive. But versus like some of the less creature heavy decks, which are like more interaction heavy, the Kaitos get a lot more value, I feel like. So that's one thing to consider. The deck is still super sweet. I'm gonna probably try and play some with like just blue, like straight blue-white spirits in a week or 2. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. But we'll say that like this version is still super cool, and putting Kaito in random stuff I can totally get behind. This card is very sweet. Have done some stuff with ninjas. Have done some stuff like Esper Grease. I was like, can we play an Esper Grease Fang? We can. I'm looking to put together an Esper Grease Fang video that someone's requested over the next week or so. We'll see. Maybe a little too far down the rabbit hole. Like, yeah, it does like kind of surveil, but like, do we want to be attacking and stuff? Probably not. Anyway, the spirits are super sweet. I also haven't put together like a Banned Spirits video in a while. So that's another thing to maybe look at. But that's kind of fallen out of favor, especially with Shelter By, because this is such a good card. And like the more like non-creature spells you put in your company deck, the worse the companies get, which is kind of the point. So hey, we'll see. Maybe some blue-white, maybe some ban. Let me know in the comments what you want to see. And yeah, thanks for watching. Please do like, subscribe if you're not already. Share it around. I'd really appreciate that. Helps me out an absolute ton. And yeah, have a great day. Happy New Year.